This is why I go on when I see things that I think, right, it's incompetence, but really and truly, I can't say it's incompetence because they don't know. Do you understand? And then when you're on a big stage and then you get found out, then it's like else's fault. It's everybody else's fault for having an opinion or for telling the truth. This is the thing in boxing. There's too many friends in this game. And everyone don't want to say something to someone, I don't want them to be offended. But they won't even go and take it to them in private neither. I think that's the last ticket I ever bought. Tell a lie. Last ticket I ever bought after that was Lennox Lewis versus Razor Ruddock. And then from then, I started to make a name. I never bought a ticket since, right? I was sat with Spencer Oliver's dad in the intensive care room. Me, Spencer Oliver's dad, Danny Williams, and Jess Harden, who was his then manager, right? I was there when Gilbert Eastman got injured, right? Gilbert Eastman, my last pro fight. I go down to the hospital, and I'm with Gilbert's wife. Me and Gilbert's wife are there, and I'm saying to, and they let me in the room. You bastard! I'm gonna get you now. This is the rematch, right? She's seen her husband in that condition, right? So when you've been in those situations, there's a fighter called Michael Norgrove. If you go back to 2013, right, came to me for me to manage him, right? And I refused him. And then his next fight, he was 5-0. His next fight, he boxes in a freak accident, has a seizure, and 9 days after, he dies. So all of these kind of things, I get emotional over boxing because I've experienced that. People just think this is a game. I keep on telling you, this is not a game. This sport is very, very serious, right? But if you just come in and you learn boxing off of Instagram, off of YouTube, right? You're not going to have that affinity. When you haven't grown up in the gyms and you've had an affinity with fights because you've been a fighter, you ain't got that affiliation or that association. You know what I mean? Especially when you've been a top boy, because I know for a fact, people say, whatever happened to my career, when I was doing my thing, I was a top boy.
I know exactly what you're saying because I was sat ringside and it messed me up when Paul Ingle got his blood clot and he went down and everything. I was there, and the blood that came out, and I remember as he went down, I was looking at him and I could see his eyes rolling in the back of his head when he went down, and it messed you up. I remember going to the gym on the Monday, 2 days after, and I was in a punch bag and I just crying, and I couldn't understand why I was crying. And Brendan Ingle come up to me and says, "Are you all right? Why are you crying?" And then I'm like, I don't know. It's affected me. 13th for Final Round in collaboration with Boxers Beat, episode 8, Real Talk with Spencer Fearon. Last week was a very, very good conversation that got a lot of people talking through the week. But we'll start here. Last week we saw a little bit of controversially about the fight being stopped too late. But last night Jamie Moore threw the towel in. Do we think it's too early or was it on point?
You're asking Donovan. I think Jamie Moore being an ex-fighter.
Yeah.
Nigel Travis being a very, very good amateur fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're more elder statesmen and they got a sensible head on them.
Yeah.
And I think what they did was absolutely right. Because it was going nowhere. And if you think about it, it wasn't a grotesque mismatch, but you got to look at this man. This man, Hergovich, is in the top 10 in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dave Allen is top 10 of Great Britain.
Yeah.
He's not even the top 10 of Europe. So it was a massive jump. But what I can say is it's a good thing that, he got financially rewarded from it.
Yeah.
And he'd be able to look after his family and go home safely. And it was safely because you'd have to look at it and say, like, what did Dave Allen do in that fight? And let's just be realistic about it. Everybody who was saying that they thought he was going to do really well, he's going to come out victorious, that was just wishful thinking. Realistically, take the equation of, take the fact of our emotional attachment to Dave Allen because he's become that sentimental, lovable, cuddly figure who's very truthful. But if you look at it on its rules, understand there is levels in boxing for a reason, just like there's levels in life for a reason, you know?
Yes.
And That's all. That's what we saw.
Yeah, 100%.
That's right.
100%. When we interviewed Philip Vergich, by the way, Adele, big up, he's stood in for Donovan this week, and we interviewed him a little bit off on camera. I could tell that Philip Vergich was not happy about taking this fight. It's like he felt insulted that he had to step backwards to take this fight, but it was part of a multi-fight deal that he had to take this fight. So he made a statement, and that's what he was looking to do.
Go on.
I'm saying, if I was in that position, I maybe have looked at that fight as it being a little bit disrespectful. To be real, but at the same time, it is a business, and he just fitted the criteria for a bigger purpose, and a bigger purpose is actually for him to fight Moses Tama.
There we go. We were going to come on to it.
Right?
Yeah.
And also get the British fight fans accustomed to him.
Yeah.
Even though he's fought over here quite a few times.
Yeah.
But to get him more accustomed, and I think that's what they did. End of the day, it's a win-win. Dave Allen didn't get really damaged or hurt.
No.
Right? He just got beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing that he's not used to taking because he's been beat up quite a few times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was big for him to be in his hometown of Doncaster, for all the Doncaster supporters to come out for him.
Yeah.
And that was nice, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were ringside, weren't we, D?
Yeah. Do you think he should retire from this game, or should he fight on? Because I heard that he's fighting on still. I think he's going to have another fight. Yes. What do you think?
Where did you hear that?
I've heard it. I read it. He's going to...
You know firsthand, Donovan, it's really difficult to tell a fighter when to pack it in, yeah?
It's really hard.
Right? And Dave Allen will have fights at a certain level.
Yeah.
You know, to be realistic, at a certain level.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe Fisher gets quite a few wins. I couldn't see Dave Allen in with Richard Rapport, who's now the current British heavyweight champion.
No.
Right?
We were talking about that.
Who was talking about it?
Yeah, we were talking about Richard Rapport, and I'm thinking, no, you can't do that, man. You get hurt, man. You get damaged.
Richard Rapport is a ridiculous puncher. I just want you to realize.
Strong as well.
He's very strong, ridiculous puncher. Why would anybody that be a
explosive and fast as well?
Exactly. Why would you want to put him? No. Me personally, I wouldn't want to see that. But crazier things have happened in this sport, you know?
Yeah.
If you was his manager, John and Spencer, which route do you take for him from after this fight here on the weekend? Which route do you take to save if he wants to carry on fighting?
Him and Jamie TKV, right? Because I can't pick out anyone else because you got to think him and Fraser Clark wouldn't sell.
Well, Fraser's beat him already, though.
I know, and it wouldn't sell. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
That's why it wouldn't sell. So I don't know what other intangibles there are for him. But the thing about it is this: it's like the guy has manic support from his community, his area, right? And he's transcended. And you know, and he could go into broadcasting because he's a very no blunt, speak your mind kind of person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just asked him to retire.
You think so?
I mean, he's done.
Well, it's going to be hard.
When we interviewed Johnny this week, Johnny was like standing by what he said. He said he should have retired 3 years ago, and I stand by it. He pulled the win off against Fisher, which opened a couple doors. But because I like Dave Allen, and I think that he can do other things. Like there's not a lot of guys that can get out of boxing and do other things. Talk sport like him. He gets jobs in punditry. He's built in the stable. He's got fighters underneath him. He looks like he's got a little bit financially secure. He's got a couple of houses, I hear. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, you only take 3 or 4 of them extra shots, and then you hit forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he took a lot
forever. Do you know what I mean? So
he took a lot of hard shots, didn't he? And then chopping right hands was catching him clean. I felt sorry for him. Must have a headache by now. Trust me, them shots were hard.
Heavyweights, right?
No, but that guy could punch, man.
Hergovic is very heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed stuff.
Yeah. He's
And he
actually,
lined it
you know what? I've seen him on TV. Actually sat there. I know it's weird, but sometimes you watch on TV, you don't see things like you do when you're ringside or you're close to action. I thought it was like, I don't mean this disrespectful, but a stand-up traditional boxer, which is quite conventional to read. But actually, when you're ringside, his timing was good. He knew when the right hand and hook were coming, and he moved it by a couple of centimeters.
Shot
He's
it,
actually more clever than what people think he is.
He did.
Yeah.
And also, when you go look at how clever he is, when he dropped David Adelaide,
Yeah.
he timed it with that dropping the right hand. And it wasn't a straight right hand. It was kind of cuffing, turning around the
Dropping
corner
down,
right
yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
Like you go around the corner with the right hand from orthodox position.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, man. And I would say like he would be a fantastic test for somebody like Moses Atama, and we'll see.
Do you think?
I think
Let's talk about that. Do you think that he could be a banana skin for Tama? I think I would give a farmer Tama maybe 1 or 2 more fights for Bergovic personally.
I think we're talking about that now, you know, John. Moses. I don't think he's ready for that yet.
I'm telling you, this is what we're talking about today. I think that they shouldn't put him next.
No, not yet.
Why? I know.
Well, if they want to blow him up, it could be a banana skin.
Needs to learn the game first.
Um,
If you're wanting Atama to win, then I would say give him one more fight against someone who can see. This is something I've noticed that all Atama's opponents are not great with footwork and movement, so they're there to be hit. He needs someone who's going to move away from shots a little bit and make it a bit harder, make him think.
Okay, but in you saying that, what I'm going to say is, you know, and you could tell him to shut up, but I believe that Moses Atama has a fantastic chance with Hergovic simply because of his hand speed. And he's got very, very good foot placement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got very and he's got defense, which I think it's been naturally given to him over the years.
Yeah.
Because he administers defense and that's what I like about him. So but him taking a shot from Hergovic wouldn't be I don't know how to react with that. And I'm not saying that. I'm just waiting to see if he could take a shot. I'm not waiting for him to take a shot. Fighters don't really need to take a shot if you know defense.
I know what you're saying.
Right, but it makes it interesting for me.
I'd like to see a time where, like, before it goes against Filip Hergovic, and I don't know who can do it though. In like 7 or 8 rounds, he's gassing a little bit and blowing a little bit and seeing what his feet look like. His hands are like, can he move for the gears? Can he get a second win? Because right now he's very explosive and he's getting people out within 6 rounds. But in that last fight against Franklin, there was one of the rounds where I could see him not tired but slowing down slightly before he picked it back up.
He was puffing a bit, but I think he got good instruction from his corner, right? It's and I think Ben Davison told him, look, we're not going to take him out straight away. To calm down a bit.
Yeah,
break him down.
Break instructions, right?
Yeah.
And he came out successful, you know.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Spencer? Give him Filip Hergovic next. Are you confident he'll come through it?
I'm not confident that he'll come through it, but I have belief in him. I think let's be real. Most of the time, I think he's very good.
Yeah.
And this could be the time now to kind of let him off because remember he fought Dempsey McKean, right?
Yeah.
Who went how many rounds with Hergovic? He went the full distance, right?
Yeah.
And he just blapped him. So as far as I'm concerned, even though the old adage that styles make fights, and they do, right? But Hergovic is very tall upright. Yeah. He's not the quickest, but he's very well timed.
Yeah.
Right. But it's difficult to have timing against somebody that fast. And Moses Atama is that fast. He's got that proper Nigerian genetic gene of the quick twitch fiber.
Yeah,
Right? He's very snappy with it. So we can't look on but Hergovich is very well experienced. Very well experienced. And in tune Hergovich, who knows like, right, I need this. It could be a problem. But what are you gonna do with him? He's at that level now. He's there. So if we turn around and say, all right, let's take time with him, because the thing was, all right, then Daniel Dubois is meant to be fighting Atama. That was the talk, right?
Yeah.
And then we're looking at the performance that Daniel Dubois put in last week, and we're saying I wouldn't have been in a rush to take that fight.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you don't bomb out Daniel Dubois early, and he's still there, and he's got that belief that he can stay with you and rumble with you and fight with you, then it's going to be a long night. You do realize that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he's a very heavy-handed, destructive puncher. Right. So yeah.
Well, Frank Warren wants to let him go to go for the world title. He wants to let him go now. Let's let him go. That's what I read.
Well, I'm trying to. If that is the case, then so be it. But the thing is, Moses, he'll take that fight.
Yeah.
Right, he'll take any of them fights. So I just believe that's the fight they're gonna make. They're gonna make Hergovich and Atama next, and I'm gonna sit down with my popcorn. I can't wait to watch it when it happens.
Yeah, and the thing about Hergovich, all his opponents, we've been around the time as opponents. We interviewed and been around them. And obviously, you're going to have nerves. You just have nerves as a fighter, even if you try to hide it. Everyone gets nervous and anxiety. But Philip Hergovich has got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. When you're around him, he's got a little bit of a chip. He's not rude. He's not rude in any way. He's polite. He's got a bit of attitude about him. He's like, yeah, he believes in himself. Do you understand what I mean? Like, he was explaining about Dave Allen in an interview this week. I don't know if you saw it. And he was like, I don't understand this guy. He just makes excuses for himself by saying, I'm a fat guy, but I just try my best. And it's like the mindset's so wrong. I never think that way. I think I'm going to beat everyone I fight.
That's just serious, ain't it?
You know what I mean? He didn't make it. He said, I don't never make excuses for me, or I'm going to go in there and beat every man who's in front of me. Even Dubois knocked him out, but didn't knock him down, did he? TKO, right?
Stopped him on a cut.
Yeah, TKO, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
but
fight that.
Dubois did stick it on him though.
Yeah, he took it though. He took them shots, didn't he? He took them shots. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Listen, let's talk about some of the fight. One of the fights on the card. What did you think of Ahmed? Ahmed Atim. He lost.
The one who kicked off in the press conference.
The Sudanese brother.
He lost, right?
Yeah, he lost.
He tried too hard.
He ran out of steam, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried too hard, man.
I thought he was going to win. I see. They had it wide by 8 rounds. I thought that was wrong, though. I thought he lost, but not by 8 rounds. I thought he was winning the earlier rounds. Xavier's boy.
Who?
Xavier.
Xavier, yeah.
Xavier,
yeah. I heard his manager Mickey Moo I know really well.
Yeah. That's right.
Saying that we've got 2 men fighting for the British title. British and Commonwealth, was it? Right?
Yeah, British Commonwealth, yeah.
Right. Prestigious crown, and they're not even on the top table.
Yeah.
Right? And he was kicking off at that. He was like, he was very upset at the fact that didn't happen. And it is sad, but this is the sport. These things happen.
We've noticed the change in all fight week kind of preparation with all the organizations now. Like it used to be open workouts, you could speak to them, press conference, speak to them, weigh in.
Yeah.
You don't really try to weigh in. So then fight night, you speak to them after fight. This week, all
Protecting
the
the
other
fighters.
events, it's very hard to get to the fighters now. Even the press conference now is just the main event. They're not really doing the undercard and everything.
I don't know why they're doing that.
Yeah,
Protecting the fighters, John, I think.
eh?
I think they're protecting the
No, but you're not
fighters.
listening to what
Know what you're saying?
Spencer's saying.
Yeah.
The fighters want the exposure.
Yeah, of course they do, because the fighters are the ones that want, especially in this world that we're living in right now, in this tweet, text, gram, X world, right?
Yeah.
The fighters want that exposure.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're not getting it. And I would feel a little bit aggrieved. Right? Because how am I meant to build my fan base if people don't know I'm fighting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Don will tell you when he was fighting, like, if it wasn't publicized,
you get no tickets sold.
None whatsoever.
None.
I mean, none. Well, it was different for me because, no disrespect, I was a ridiculous tickets and I was Frank Warren.
Yeah.
I was, right. But that's because I had everyone in the pubs, everyone in the nightclubs.
Well, that's what you have to do. Go in a nightclub on the weekend, put your posters up.
Right.
Do it.
Right. But I was, like I said, I was just very, very good because I was a very, very good self-publicist. But I'm saying the onus is on the promoter because the promoters are meant to promote you, right? Yeah. So if you're fighting, then I can get why you're feeling aggrieved. But I guarantee if that young man was, because I haven't really watched him fight, but if he was an exciting fighter, like he got there, bang out guys, and there was a buzz around him, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee they'd put them on the top table.
But didn't he even they only had Hergovich and Allen, right? But you know, Michael Gomez v mind blank. Lee McGregor.
Yeah.
Even they weren't on the top table, no, and that was a barnstormer.
Hey, you know what? Props. Seriously, I used to box on the same cards as Michael Senior, right?
Yeah.
And all the credit in the world should be given to how his son is the carbon copy of him when it comes fighting style.
Isn't it?
He's
look the same as well, don't they?
Yeah.
The same.
They've even got the same attitude a little bit as well.
Yeah, well, exciting, and you know, I'm looking forward to it, and that's sad. But you know what? Let me just say also, me and Tony were talking this morning, and he was saying there, props to Billy Nelson, right? He gave McGregor enough chances in the fight. Yeah. Then he realized that it weren't going his way, and he pulled him out, right?
Yeah.
And I respect that so much simply because I don't like when trainers are brave with their fighters' lives. I'm very emotional about these things, right? And the reason why I'm so emotional to these kind of things, because if I was to go back to September 1991, I was at Chris Eubank. Watson. I was at that fight. You know what I mean? With my ex-girlfriend Kim when I was a little kid. I was at that fight when he got injured, right? And that's crazy because that is 35 years ago, right? I was at that fight as a little kid, right? But I bought my ticket and I went to the fight. I think that's the last ticket I ever bought. Tell a lie. The last ticket I ever bought after that was Lennox Lewis versus Razor Roddick. And then from then, I started to make a name. I never bought a ticket since, right? And I remember going to that fight.
Yeah.
I remember going to that fight, seeing Eubank throw that uppercut on Michael Watson after getting punched up for 10 rounds and then throw that uppercut, which he most probably practiced 1,000 times in the gym, but never pulled it off in a fight, and threw that uppercut, hit Michael Watson. And I see Michael Watson survive the round because the bell went and come out for the 12th round.
Yeah, he was gone.
And he didn't even have the emotional construct to walk, or physical construct to walk to the referee. The referee had to hold his hands and bring him to touch gloves. Eubank just rushed him, right? I was there jumping for joy, saying, good, I'm glad that Eubank beat him. Not because I didn't like Michael Watson, but because Eubank was the more newer, fresher. He was a new kid on the block, right? The one that's bringing more eyeballs to boxing. I've been there at the bedside of Spencer Oliver when he got injured back in 1998.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was there at Spencer Oliver's hospital bed. The reason why I was at Spencer Oliver's hospital bed is because everybody came to my house the day after his fight at the Royal Albert Hall thinking that it was me because we got the same first name, right? And then right, because people read it on teletext or they heard it on the news. And I just turned pro that year. I turned pro. I was a year in as a pro then. So everybody came to my house, right? And it was Danny Williams that picked me up the next day and we went down to the hospital. I was sat with Spencer Oliver's dad. I sat with Spencer Oliver's dad in the intensive care room. Spencer Oliver's dad, Danny Williams, and Jess Harden, who was his then manager.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was there when Gilbert Eastman got injured. Right?
Wow.
Right? I was there when Gilbert Eastman got injured, and Mick Collier, who's the head of the Southern Area Border Control, phones me and said, "You have to go to the hospital." I said, "Well, I'm not no patron saint." He said, "You've got to go down to the hospital." Gilbert Eastman, my last pro fight, I go down to the hospital, and I'm with Gilbert's wife.
Yeah.
Me and Gilbert's wife are there, and like he's in a coma, and I'm saying to, and they let me in the room. They let me in the room. I'm saying to Gilbert, "Yeah, you bastard, I'm gonna get you now. This is the rematch, right?" Yeah. And his wife started to laugh because she's distraught. She's seen her husband in that condition, right? And I got a massive big up to a guy called Gregor Shaw. I remember he gave me a check for, I think it was like $5 or $6 grand for Gilbert. He was one of my clients who I was training when I was at the gym, right? So when you've been in those situations, you have a different kind of affinity and a protection for a boxer. There's a fighter called Michael Norgrove. If you go back to 2013, right, came to me for me to manage him, right? Yeah. And I refused him. And then his next fight, he was 5-0. His next fight, he boxes in a freak accident, has a seizure. And 9 days after, he dies.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When the Border Control had their annual dinner, they asked me to host Michael Norgrove's table for his family. Yeah. Right? Michael Norgrove just lived 3 doors away from me when I was living in Essex. So all of these kind of things, I get emotional over boxing because I've experienced that. Yeah. People just think this is a game. I keep on telling you, this is not a game. This sport is very, very serious, right? But if you just come in and you learn boxing off of Instagram, off of YouTube, right? Yeah. You're not going to have that affinity. When you haven't grown up in the gyms, and you have an affinity with fights because you've been a fighter, you ain't got that affiliation or that association. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you've been a top boy, because I know for a fact, people say, whatever happened to my career, when I was doing my thing, I was a top boy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Bless me with personality and good looks. Come on, man. So all of these kind of things, when I'm turning around looking on these things and saying like, right, this is why I go on when I see things that I think, right, it's incompetence, but really and truly, I can't say it's incompetence. The reason why it is incompetence is because they don't know. Do you understand? And then when you're on a big stage and then you get found out, then it's like, it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else for having an opinion or for telling the truth. This is the thing in boxing. There's too many friends in this game. And everyone don't want to say something to someone, I don't want them to be offended. But they won't even go and take it to them in private neither. I don't want to say it in private because I don't want them to think that I'm a hater. Brother, I don't business if you want to call me what you want to call me, right? But I know within myself, I know that I'm right. Yeah. I know that I'm right, right? I know that I'm right. So when I see people like experienced men, like we saw yesterday, Nigel Travis in the corner, right? Bob Dave Allen, he's an experienced guy, right? Jamie Moore's an experienced guy, right? I see them throwing the towel because they just realize, you know what I mean? Their ego doesn't surpass their personality. And they know the humility doesn't matter because in the day, you were the underdog anyway. And it didn't work out for you. And it's not like you had a puncher's chance in there because Hergovich has got a very good chin. No problem. We'll pull you out. You know why? You was getting punched up, right? When we saw what Billy Nelson did, give Billy Nelson his flowers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because he's saying like, you ain't got, I'll give you every opportunity to try and show me something. And you're not showing me something, I'm going to pull you out.
That's exactly. I was watching it from behind. I was watching him.
We were there. We were inside. We were very.
We were right next to you. You're going to throw it in, and he stepped back and he thought no, and he looked at him and he thought no, I'll leave him, let him fight on. Nah, throw it in. Boom. Okay. Threw it in. I thought well done.
We was literally
right behind him.
Hand. Okay. Reach out and touch Billy Nelson. That's how.
This is what I'm going to say is somewhere in their psyche or their subconscious, everybody knows how I kick off about the thing about trainers being too braver than the fighters.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I always speak about these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Always speak about these kind of things. Trainers being too brave. No, I've seen people get hurt. So when you understand that, you understand where I'm coming from. I'm coming from that because I've seen guys get hurt. I've seen guys get damaged in this game. And this game is a very unforgiving sport when you are looking for forgiveness.
Listen, let me say something. I know exactly what you're saying because I was sat ringside when, and it messed me up when Paul Ingle got his blood clot and he went down and everything. I was there. And the blood that came out, and I remember I was looking as he went down. I was looking at him, and I could see his eyes rolling in the back of his head when he went down, and it messed you up. I remember going to the gym on the Monday, 2 days after, and I was in a punch bag, and I just crying, and I couldn't understand why I was crying. And Brendan Ingle come up to me and says, "Are you all right? Why are you crying?" And then I'm like, "I don't know. It's affected me. Like, what happened
Right.
affected me."
Now,
He
this is
said
what
to-
I'm trying to
he
say to
said,
you.
let me finish just one point.
Sorry.
He said to me, he says, "You don't have to worry about what happened to him because that he's a come forward fighter. And the way we teach here is you'll never be in a position that you'll be getting hit with that many shots."
Well, what I'm saying is this. When you witness those things like you did, right? No matter what Brendan Ingle would have said to you for that of reassurance,
Yeah.
it's still in the back of your mind. But when you retire, you walk away from it, you're more empathetic. You know what I mean? You're more empathetic to those things, right?
Yeah.
And literally, you know the old adage that you can't play boxing, you literally can't play it.
No.
If you
That's what
believe
you signed up. Yeah. Go on.
if you believe that you're playing it, you will soon get found out.
Mm. Yeah. You get hurt. That's what you signed up to. You're gonna get hurt. I'm telling you in the gym, you will get hurt. So you gotta defend yourself, or else this will happen to you.
You know, sometimes things are, how can I put it right? Some things are said, and sometimes you understand it, and some things are said, and only a couple of people in the room understand what you're saying. And when Spencer speaks, I understand exactly what he's saying and exactly what he's doing with it, right? And he's being tactful more than he needs to be. And I look up to Spencer for this reason. I realize that we've started off on media, which if we was, you know, we're in the situation right now where we're going to interview the fighters. If we was to be, we're not pundits yet. Where there's a difference between us and Spencer, because Spencer's more of a pundit. If we was to go ahead and do and say what I really want to say, we would be cancelled from, and we wouldn't be getting access to the fighters. We wouldn't be allowed in the changing rooms. We wouldn't be able to say it until we get a certain amount of following or a certain amount of respect that we can actually say what we want to say. So I respect when Spencer puts it all on the line and he doesn't care about the outcome. He speaks from his heart. You understand what I'm saying?
I tell you what, listen, I'm just gonna be real, yeah. I tell you why I don't care about the outcome, about me saying about the outcome. All of this. Yeah. Is because there's other people that say, okay, but you got to be tactful, you got to be this, you got to be that. No. When you're dealing with human life, right? Anything else, I'm not going to be overly this, but when you're dealing with human life, you'll hear my voice. And that's the God's honest truth, okay? And you'll hear it because even the people inside of the game know when it comes to this thing, I've profusely studied it. Okay? So much that if I was to show the amount of awards that I've received, right? But those accolades don't mean nothing. It's because I know what I know. Okay? And if anyone can sit down and say they've studied as intensively as me, I'm not saying that nobody hasn't studied as intensively. Most people have been. But I know that I've studied this game intensively, right? So you got to understand, why do I study it so intensively? Because I know that legends that will follow me to have debates with me. Legends of the game who, when I was a kid, I used to look up to. Men like Sugar Leonard, men like Roy Jones, men like Lennox Lewis, men like Chris Eubank, Senior, men like Nigel Benn, right? Legends of the game, right? I came from a lineage of teachers, right? I came from my first trainer when I was looking to turn professional was Lloyd Hannigan.
Yeah.
So me and Lloyd Hannigan are friends to this day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? The man I turned professional with, who I was fighting underneath, was Charlie Magru, former WBC flyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
Right. So I went from the former undisputed world champion, world champion, to the WBC, former British and WBC flyweight champion. Right.
Mm.
Then after him, I had James Cook. Yeah, I mean, former British and European super middleweight champion. Right, I've been around the game to listen, and I listen to these men. And when you're around these people, you don't just pick up their knowledge, because where did they get their knowledge from? You inherit the knowledge of the people who were their predecessors.
Yeah.
These are the things, right? But if you come to this game and you just come into it and you're coming from your knowledge, or you're coming from your standpoint, I like to look at all of these men inside the sport, and I will say that, okay, now, well, who was your predecessor? Who was your predecessor? Who did you sit down and say? You see, no, I can't argue with you, Don. I can't argue with you, John. You say, well, who's your teacher? You say, well, Brendan Ingle was my teacher. Then you know what? Then I got to shut my mouth. It's like the kung fu movies, man.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, who your master? Who your master? You know what? That's my master. Right? So I have come from masters. I've come from masters. A big, massive difference. You have to know, who did you come from? So I know I came from masters. And like I said, I am so privileged when legends of boxing phone me and they want to debate boxing. Or when they want to kill an argument, I'm getting legends. When they want to kill an argument, I'm getting a phone call. So no, I take this thing very serious. There's so many people you can say, like, yeah, everybody want to say they love boxing until something goes horribly wrong.
True.
Till they get punched.
True.
Right? No, not the punching, until something goes horribly wrong. Like you see an injury or you see a death. Then we see how much you love the game.
True.
Listen,
True.
I know what you're saying and what you're not saying. I understand exactly what you're getting at. Do you understand what I mean? I understand exactly. And if, listen, this is the whole one of the reasons that I'm like, I'm frustrated sometimes that I have to be. So I learned a lot from Johnny. All right. So Johnny's in a position where he's as a pundit on Sky. Yeah. And he said he's got an art of getting his point across and speaking his mind, but just holding that just that little bit back. If you know what I'm saying.
You know what it is? Let me say this. You know what it is? It's because I wish that I had Johnny Nelson's diplomacy. Right? But the thing about it is this: that's what makes Johnny Nelson Johnny Nelson.
Yeah.
I have to do what makes Spencer Fearon Spencer Fearon.
I agree.
And this is the next thing is this. I'm gonna be real, right? I'm not I've lived half a century now. Okay. If I get another half a century, the another half a century is actually for me. Not to be people pleasing, not to try to run around and think like I'm just gonna say things like because we're all in a private club and we can't say this about him or blah 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 and all the rest of it. No, brother. No. None of you guys are feeding me. Right?
True.
Right. None of you guys are feeding me. And I understand. If you're working at McDonald's now, you're not gonna, someone comes into McDonald's, you're not gonna big up Burger King and say, boy, that Whopper, and I think you should go down the road. No, you're gonna big up when you're there, right? I'm not employed by nobody. I am employed by righteousness, right? And my righteousness may not be right for you, but it definitely is right for me. That's what I'm employed by.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is it. Right? And there is nothing to me more beautiful than the sport of boxing, the sport, meaning the combat of it, not the intricacies of the business deals and this promoter going against that promoter, and bro, I don't give a damn about any of those kind of things. The reason why, because most of the promoters ain't got punched in the head anyway. Most of the promoters weren't being disciplined enough to say they're going to be get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Most promoters, there's a really good book. I don't know if you read Steve Collins' autobiography. I don't know if you ever read it.
No,
right? God, seriously, it's a really good read. I remember reading this book about, bloody hell, it must be about 20 years ago, if not longer than that, right? And Steve Collins in there says the thing about when you're a fighter 24/7.
That's correct.
Right? There is no turn-off point. You are a fighter all the time. Like, you want to have that sandwich at night time, but you don't want to have it because you know you're going to have to go run it off in the morning. You got all of these kind of things. You're a fighter all the time because You want to be alert. You don't want to be in a relaxed state, because if you're in a relaxed state, you think your opponent could take advantage of you. You're a fighter because there's certain times when you're in the gym and you're hitting the bag and you say, well, I'm going to do 10 rounds on the bag work today. You say, I ain't going to do 10 rounds. I'm going to do 15 rounds because I don't know what my opponent's doing. But let me just do that little bit more extra. If you have not experienced that, you can't talk to me about this thing. You can't, right? You can't, right? And I'm telling this to everybody, like, to get this touch on greatness, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Then study the greats, because they leave clues, right? That is it. But my major thing is this: is not to be famous here while we're here on the planet. No, it's to be famous among the angels. And once I worked that out, seriously worked that out, and been going through a lot, like go through therapy and all those things. Once you realize that you actually have to work from value and not strive for it. And I've learned how to do this. I'm learning how to do it, because not every day, but I'm working from value. And when you realize that you're working from value, right? People who have no value to you, right? Who have no value to you, you're going to speak your mind, right?
You're right.
You're just speaking your mind from a righteous standpoint. You're not a self-righteous standpoint, but from a righteous standpoint. And from the word of righteousness, to be right, but it comes, you know what I mean, from piety. And to be pious is say, well, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to offend you, I'm trying to hurt you, I'm trying to no. And that's not the case. But like before, I used to be that guy. Like I'll be offensive to people. I'd like take the piss out of people to be funny, not realize. But to me, that was my term of endearment until I realized that people would just read that wrongly. I would say some outlandish things, and I would say some outlandish things, and it'd be funny and ha, and you laugh, but you don't know how you're making that person feel.
Guys, we're three passionate people here, could talk about the fighters all day long. Forget the other parts of boxing, but we've got to call it. But we're back next week, though. So, guys, if you're vibing,
start subscribing. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
13th and the final round.
13th and final round.
13th final round.
Hit the comment.
Hit that subscribe button.
Hit that subscription button.